Welcome back, everyone, to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, he's Yinka Yusuf.
Hello, people.
And in spite of the glasses, I can't decay. Yinka, how are you doing?
Yeah, you keep saying when you grow up you want to be like me. So I
I want
see.
to be like, I'm
Yeah,
like, why wait? Let me just,
yeah.
let me just start taking steps now,
So
So
you had to get the glasses out now.
yeah, there's a story behind this. So for Christmas, my daughter got two of these. They're like blue light, anti-glare, whatever glasses for people who spend all their work and school day
Yeah.
staring at screens. So
Mm-hmm.
she insists that I wear mine because I'm always on screens. So I've been wearing it for a week now. So
It's
that's
good.
the story.
It's good. She
Thank you.
has your best
Thank
interest
you.
at heart.
There you
Yeah,
go.
trust
There
me.
you go.
I've
So
I've been
and now
wearing I've been wearing this anti-glare probably since 2005.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Does it
because
work?
if I it does, because if I don't wear
Okay.
them and I'm staring at either the TV or my laptop, after 5 minutes I have what you call tension headache. I start feeling,
Interesting.
you know,
Okay.
yep. And once I put it
Oh,
back on, within 5 minutes it goes, right?
that's
So
interesting. Huh.
yeah, my eyes. There's nothing wrong with my eyes. I can see. I don't have any issues with anything, but I need to protect them. 5 minutes without my
Okay.
glasses, staring at my laptop is automatic tension headache. Automatic.
Interesting.
Automatic.
Interesting. I
So she
learned
has
a
your
new terminology today.
she,
Tension headaches.
yeah. It's linked to
You
your
know.
eyes. Headache caused by your eyes. It's called
Okay.
well,
All right.
yeah, it's
Well,
tension headache.
here we are.
Here we
Okay,
are.
Inka, we're gonna zip right through the agenda today.
Yes,
Because
we are.
it's packed. We have a lot going on. And we're just gonna keep it simple. Wordy mentions, and then we'll review what's been happening, do some limited preview, talk about a transfer window, and rumors, confirmed deals, and stuff like that. And then we're just
Yeah.
gonna be done. All
Yep.
right.
Good.
Quick fit check. What do you have on today? What is that?
So I'm wearing Enyimba.
Oh, very
Eyimba
nice.
is the Nigerian football club, arguably the biggest club in Nigeria. Um,
Yeah. Enyimba Baba.
Eyimba of Aba. So funny enough, I traveled yesterday. I was in Ikotepene in Akwa Ibom State for a wedding. And
Mm.
Eyimba actually had a game at the Nest of Champions where the Super Eagles typically play in Uyo.
Yeah, in Uyo.
Um,
Yeah.
if I had known, I would have probably shifted my flight to come back to Lagos, maybe till tomorrow so I could watch the Yimba game. So, but I couldn't. So I thought, you know what, let
All
me
right.
pay a bit of homage to Eyimba.
I like it.
That's
First
what I'm wearing.
Nigerian club to win the African Champions League.
No, I think
Champions League.
3SC didn't. Yeah, okay, the
No,
Champions League.
Champions League.
Yes,
Not
yes,
not
yes.
cup winners. Not cup
No
winners.
cup. Yeah,
3SC, I believe. I think 3SC and Rangers may have won the cup winners, but I think Enyimba was the first
Eyimba
to
won it.
win the
They won it
Champions
back to back. Was it back to back
back
or
to back.
they
Yeah.
won it back to back?
Or two
That's
in
when they
3 years or
had
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's when they had Vincent and Yama and the rest
Vincenta
of the gang.
Yama.
Yeah,
Yes. So,
yeah.
all right. Good stuff. All right, and I'm wearing, let me say this very quietly, Arsenal
Yeah.
jersey.
And I see
Yeah,
you're
it's
wearing
not.
black. Is it a morning session or what?
No, it's just you know me. I never get too up or too down. It's actually a
Yeah,
problem. It's becoming a problem in my business and professional life now. I think I just can't enjoy anything. I can't
exactly.
enjoy any perceived successes because I just always roll on to the next thing. I was
Yeah.
explaining to my nephew yesterday that that's how my brain works. Like, you know,
And
uh,
that's how it should be, Aki. That's how it should be. You just, keep moving, right?
yeah,
There's no need,
you know,
dwelling on past or, crying over spilled milk. Just move on to the
yeah.
next.
It
On to the
helps. It
next.
helps on days like this. But I was telling my nephew yesterday about the tasting event we had in Lagos, and
Mm.
how everyone said it was great or whatever, and I was just stuck thinking about the 18 million things I had to do and I couldn't be in the moment. I couldn't enjoy anything. Like, I don't enjoy anything. I just, I'm like a tortured poet or tortured artist. I'm always thinking about the next thing I gotta
Yeah,
go do. It's
yeah.
not good.
It's not good, but
But
it is what it is. Yeah.
it is what it is.
Um, and I tell people we need to manage our. I'm also kind of similar to you. I kind of
Yeah.
overthink things. I plan to plan to plan. I'm always, so what am I doing? Yeah. So at times you need to manage. You need to take care of yourself. Take care of your mental.
Yeah.
There's one small thing I do, right? So, for example, on my phone, my work email, it's on my phone, but I don't get I don't have notification on my phone at
Ah.
all,
Got it.
at
Got
all,
it.
at all. So I only check stuff when I want to check stuff. WhatsApp, email, there is no. So my phone does not go boom or boom when the message comes in, because that's the little things that build up anxiety. You're like, oh, what's going on? No, 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 I don't want that. Yeah. So I just
So
leave the
that's why
phone
I
whenever I
never
want to
hear
check.
back from you when I need to hear back from you. Now I know.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
All right.
Anyway,
Let's get into
cool.
it, Yinka.
Yes, sir.
Uh so West Ham made a move. Lopetegui was fired, and Graham Potter has been appointed as the new manager. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. We saw this coming. Maybe not the Graham Potter one, but the Lopetegui one, absolutely. This is a massive fall from grace. So we've gone from this man has been involved or been in and around the Spanish national team, Real Madrid, and now Wolves and West Ham, and couldn't get it done. Like, I mean, all of this within what, 5 years? You know,
Within 5 years.
uh, this is quite amazing. What happened to this man?
Frankly, I don't know. But
Mm,
his stock, like you said, has plummeted significantly.
mm.
So I don't. It was knocking on the door of being an elite coach, but
Yeah, yeah.
now I think he's just gonna get lost in the Real Valladolid, the Espanyol,
Santander.
Santander. That's what's gonna happen. So, for
Yeah.
example, Valencia are not doing very well. Maybe the next job they will take up is Valencia. If I were to be a betting man, I'll put
Mm,
my name. I'll put some money on that. But yeah, you're right. Lopetegui was like, was up there in terms of coaches.
yeah.
But right now, it just tells you. It kind of tells you that the coaching, you know, the pool of coaches
Mm,
that you have these days, it's not there are not too many people that are entering um that elite coaching room, if I can put it that way.
mm,
These guys, yes, coaching matters. Yes, it contributes significantly to the output on the pitch. But frankly, at times, recruitment also matters. Yeah,
yeah.
recruitment
That's
matters.
true.
I think
That's
if
true.
he was involved in recruitment at West Ham, I think he didn't do a decent job. And I told you this: modern day football is not just the technicalities on the pitch.
Mm,
It's not the X and O's. It's also part of how do I want to play? How do I want to recruit? Some people are good at that. Some are very, very horrible on the technical side of things. So you need to
mm.
find the perfect balance. And also, coaching a national team is different from coaching a club side. Yeah.
Very
So
true.
there are
Very true.
multiple angles to this stuff. But does he
Okay.
deserve to be fired? Akin,
Yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
yes.
They look terrible.
Absolutely yes. They
I
look
think
terrible.
we've talked about this before. They shipped 5 against Chelsea, I believe. They shipped
Hmm.
5 in one half against
Against
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
They
Hmm.
shipped 5 against Liverpool. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And
It's too much.
Bowen is having a good season. I mean, I never liked Fabianski, but he's a okay goalkeeper. Their defense has been horrible, but the personnel didn't really change. You
Yeah.
know, yes, they lost Declan Rice, but it's been 2 seasons, and they got way too much money for him. Even if you're waiting for the market to cool down before you spend the money, you've had what, three windows now to spend the money. What
Yeah.
what have you done? This
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's,
okay.
it's it's bad optics for him, so I think he
Yeah, it's
deserves to be
it's
fired.
it's really bad. So we think it
Yeah,
goes back to Spain. We don't think it gets another
is
Premier League job.
Valladolid,
It goes back.
Valencia.
Okay,
That's
somewhere.
let him go and stew on that a bit.
Okay. Uh your favorite manager in the whole world was fired. Sean Dyche
Mm,
was fired. I do not get the point of this man. If he never coaches again in any of the leagues I watch, I would not miss
mm-hmm,
him. The
mm-hmm.
problem is he's gonna get a job. He might get a job before Lopetegui.
Yeah.
He keeps getting rehired,
Mm-hmm,
and when you look at him, you're like, what is the point of this dude? You know what I mean? If all you want to do is huff and puff and
mm,
scowl,
mm-hmm,
and and give memorable press conferences, I don't know, once every 10 matches, then maybe. But he didn't advance Everton in any way at all whatsoever. They were bad before him. They're bad now. Their future is, pretty cloudy right now. They're getting new
mm,
owners and all that. The players haven't improved. They got rid of some of their better players. They replaced them with, players that don't really fit. You've talked a lot about Onana, and what's it doesn't really fit. So I don't know what kind of scouting this man does, if he does any. So one, you think he gets another job, and two, there are rumors that David Moyes is coming back. I don't get that either. It was really, really, really bad his last season at West Ham. He
mm.
shouldn't be coaching again. So what do you think?
So, Mr. Sean, I think it's Dyke. It's not Daisho.
No, it's Dash. It's
Anyway,
Dash.
but
It's Sean Dash.
you're sure? Okay.
I'm very sure.
So, Mr. Dyche, is at best a championship coach. Yeah,
Ouch. Not wrong.
that's what it is. Or if you are trying to avoid relegation, yeah,
Mm.
you're stuck in relegation battle. Yeah, he can probably help you, right?
Mm.
But any club that has ambitions of playing in Europe, right, of not being a mid-level, mid-table team in the EPL, you want to play in Europe, you don't have any business appointing him. Absolutely no business, right? He's a defensive, defend first, and whatever happens in front of goal, we take it kind of coach. Akin, that's what he is. So every
Mm.
time he tries to set up his team offensively, the cracks appear. But when he plays and is resolute and he doesn't want to concede, you see them, they play well. Yeah. So he can't put together an offensive team. Can he put
Mm.
together a decent defensive team that can, soak up pressure and hit on the counter? Probably he can. Yeah. Everton that has hopes of, playing in Europe, you now give that kind of guy 200 million kind of budget to work with. He's just going to buy, he's going to buy players that don't fit your ambition, you know?
Mm.
And you're right, he's probably going to get a job before Lopetegui. He probably will, you know? Now, going back to David Moyes, it just tells you
Mm.
David Moyes, that is the level that he is. That is his peak. David Moyes, what happened was he took over from United and he wanted to be a UCL manager, right? But you're not a Champions League manager. You are a mid-table fighting for Europe kind of manager, right?
Ouch.
So you went all the way, went to Man United, West Ham, and now the full circle, you're back where you started from. And watch Akin, Everton are going to start playing well. They'll be a good mid-table team. He's an
Mm.
Everton lifer. I'm sorry. That's what he is for me, right? Because
Mm.
if Everton have hopes of playing in Europe, it's not David Moyes they should be getting. I'm sorry. It's not David Moyes they should be getting. But I saw this, when I heard Dash I jokingly said, oh, maybe Arteta, their prime person will be Arteta because of the history he has with Everton and all. But they were definitely going to get David Moyes. Definitely going
Mm.
to get David Moyes.
It
So
just
I'm
makes
not surprised.
sense. It
I'm not
just it
surprised
just
at
it
all.
just it just makes sense that Everton would do this. but it is what. Good luck to them. I don't even know what to say, but I forgot to bring up Graham Potter taking over at West
Yes.
Ham. I think it's a good coach. Again, we can debate who was responsible for the success at Brighton. You
At
know, his
Brighton, yeah.
successor had some success as well, and his successor is having success right now. If that makes sense, that's a lot of successes. But like I said the other day, there's talk that is really the owner and not the coaches. I I don't think it's 100% one person and 0% the other. Was he really that bad at Chelsea? It's been a while. I don't remember. But
Mm.
if he's gonna be any kind of coach at all, this has to at least be his level. West Ham. It has to at least be his level, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
there's no big names, no big personalities here. It should be fine.
Yeah,
I guess
I
is what
agree.
I'm trying to say.
I
So
think it's a perfect fit. Yeah, he's not taking a club that's too big for him, and he's not taking a club
mm,
that's too small for him. I totally agree with you. I've not seen enough of Potter to actually say, "Oh, this guy is a good coach," because once
mm,
again, we've seen two situations where we're not too sure, um, whether the success was because of him, and in Chelsea, whether the dysfunction was because of him, because there was major dysfunction at
mm,
Chelsea when he took over. With Todd
mm,
Bowley just carrying a shopping cart and going through the mall, just picking players like groceries, right? So
mm.
we saw that. So I can't. So this is a good opportunity for him to then let us know what kind of coach he is, right? There was a time he was muted to become the England manager, wasn't he?
Yes,
Potter.
it was in the
Yeah,
running. It was in the
it
running.
was it,
It
it
was
was
in the
in the
running.
running.
Yeah,
So it's up to him. I think
yeah.
it's a perfect fit for both guys. Moyes at Everton, Potter at West Ham. Back in my question to you then is, looking at the table now and the way the league is panning out, who do you think is next that'll get the sack?
Let's see. So I'm looking at the teams at the bottom of the league. Wolves and Southampton got rid of their
They just
coaches. Oh,
already,
they
yeah.
did, right? They did.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And now Everton and West Ham. Honestly, that may be the end of it. Uh that may who else would think they could do better with a manager? Leicester already did. Ipswich
Leicester
Town
already
really
did.
shouldn't. Yeah.
If well, they shouldn't, but you
Ipswich
never know.
shouldn't.
You never know.
Yeah.
But
I think
but
everyone should be just about safe. I think Crystal Palace coach is safe. Man, you already fired their manager. Honestly,
Spurs,
okay. The only one I can think about is Spurs.
yeah, I had that in mind too.
Yeah.
I had that in mind too. That 1-0 win, we'll talk about that later over Liverpool.
Yeah.
Probably just extended his tenure a bit. Yeah, if he had
Yeah.
lost that game, they probably would have fired him. They
Yeah.
probably would have fired him. But well, it's Spurs. You never know what Spurs would do, right? They are, the way they think and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
think we had the
that would
same.
be
It's
my
only
answer.
Spurs I had in mind. Yeah, it's only Spurs I had in mind too.
Mm,
Good.
okay. All right. So you're only Spurs. I agree. Nobody else. Nobody else around. Do you want to see it? Do you want to see Angie go, or are you rooting for him to stay?
Um, I don't care. They're not.
You
They're
don't care.
irrelevant.
I got.
They're
Ouch.
irrelevant. If he stays, fine. If he
Ouch.
doesn't, the only other person I would have worried a bit about would have been Glasner at Palace. He hasn't been
No.
unable to replicate the magic of last season, right? So
Yeah.
once again, maybe it was IGG all through last season. Is now that we will
Yeah.
know whether he's really a great coach or not. But yeah, maybe
Uh,
Glasner. I
so
look at Glasner kind of way and be like, guy, are you sure you should still have this
Nika,
job?
I really try to be consistent. I thought I, I thought Patrick Vieira should never have been fired. We've talked
Mm-hmm.
about this. I don't want to relitigate it. When it was let go, they were 14th or so. They're like a 12th to 14th kind of team, right? I
Yeah.
believe they were 14th when he was let go.
Mm-hmm.
But he had just played like a murderer's row of, of teams, and he had easier games coming up. Should have been given those games to see how things were going to go. The tough games he played, they were not embarrassed. It was losing 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, 2-1. He went all the way to, I believe, the semifinals of the FA Cup. So
Yeah.
I didn't think it did anything to deserve being fired. The
Mm.
old man came on, did okay. Everyone's trying to prove to me that they overachieved. They did not overachieve. They did better in games against, poorer
Weaker opposition.
competition,
Yeah.
yeah, than they did under Patrick in games against the top six. This just makes sense. And then old man leaves, Glasner comes in. They've been okay. Crystal Palace have been incredibly consistent the last 3 seasons. They are
Mm.
exactly what we thought they are, right?
Yeah.
Eze injured, Eze not injured, Olise injured, Olise not injured, Olise sold. Doesn't matter. They're effectively the same team. Now, the only thing that's different right now is Mateta seems to have found, some
Come.
level of consistency, right?
Yeah.
And form. He actually looks like a real player. And I saw when I was in Nigeria actually, I saw one of these best friends answering questions about each other's life episodes on Super Sport, and it was
Mm.
him and Eze. Apparently, they're really close, and you can see it on the field as well, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is who we thought they were. The only thing that's different for me, aside from Mateta, is Sar looks really good, but. You and I knew Sar was a good player. It
Yeah.
was stuck. It was stuck in the championship, but we knew he was a good player. So
Mm-hmm.
why would you fire this guy? They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They will have periods of inconsistency. They will have periods where they overachieve. It's
Yeah.
they're like the classic mid-table team. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
Okay,
I agree. I agree totally.
uh, Inka, I'm gonna switch things up a little bit, just so we put all the coaches together.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Eagles have a new coach. Um, Éric Chelle is the new coach. Is Malian. I believe he had maybe 20-ish games, maybe, or just under 20 games with Mali as a manager. Um, I don't know how I feel about this. I like Nigerians coaching the Super Eagles. Um, but I like that he's African. So I guess that's something. He's black. I guess that's something. But I don't think Nigeria needs to go to Mali for a coach. And I think Eguavon is just fine. I like Eguavon just fine. Eguavon understands Nigerian ball. Eguavon is technically astute and aware, and politically, he knows how to get the job done. The way he navigated that Libya thing, I'm like, this is who you want representing you. What else could he have done? So I'm of two minds on this one. Well, what's your take on it, Inka?
I'm not of two minds. I'm of one mind. This is a stupid, unnecessary, stupid, unnecessary appointment.
Oh.
What are we doing here now? What are we doing
Hmm.
here? So Akin, you want to tell me honestly that this guy is an upgrade on the Guavon?
We don't know.
No, 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 no. You can't tell me we don't know. His record. Okay, so let's even break it down. Yeah.
Hmm.
This guy has only coached in the lower divisions in France,
Yeah.
right? And the Malian national team. The Malian national team fired him.
Hmm.
Did he win anything with them? No, he didn't. So what are we talking about here? His win
Yeah.
percentage with Mali was 60 something percent. That is the highest so far, right? In all these other, I'm looking at his stats, saying all the other clubs or other positions that he's had, Akin, he's had horrible win percentages. And he doesn't even have that much experience. Akin is been coaching club sides. So his managerial career, if my math is correct, if I do 30 plus 80, that's 110, 130, 150. This guy's barely coached 160 games as a coach.
So 5 years
From
roughly.
from
If
from
if
tw-
if
no,
you yeah,
but that's from 2016 till now.
I know.
So
I
over
know.
a 9-year period, is
Yeah,
barely
5 years
coached.
worth of full seasons, I guess is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
If you're yeah.
So this guy is I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't see the need. I don't see the drive. I don't get why you need to always get someone that is not Nigerian. It's like they say, "Ile la die fufu, ti niyi," or whatever. What is why
A prophet has no honor in his own home, is what you're trying to say.
exactly?
Yeah,
How is Eguavon worse than this guy?
yeah.
How is this
So,
guy way better than Eguavon? How is he better than Ciecia? How is he better than... He's not. So the only thing going for him, Akin, is that he's not a white man. That's it.
it's not Nigerian. Yeah, and it's not
No, no,
well.
no, he's not a
Okay,
white
yeah.
man. That's the only... Because we've always said,
In
oh,
your
why are you
mind,
getting a
yeah.
white... Yeah, the only thing going for him is Mr. Chelle is not a white man. What is his pedigree?
Okay,
What are the qualities? Can we even say this is how Chelle plays? This is his style of play? We don't know this guy. So why? Why?
okay. I'm gonna try and tie a bow on this, so we can move on. How do I say this? Um, yeah, I think we deserve better, as a people. Hopefully someday we'll get there. Sadly, today is not someday. Sadly, today is not someday. Yinka, the most forward-thinking, aggressive, total football type coaching I've seen a Nigerian side play. I don't want to be too hyperbolic about this. In the past 20 years was Cia in 2008. I've said that on this podcast before. I said it to you privately before. And that was the Olympics. That Olympic team is the... Cia was ahead of his time. He was doing pep type things in 2008 with a team that was kind of hastily put together, right? That man can coach. I don't know what the issues were with FIFA. Hopefully he gets through that. And the most complete, top to bottom, I know how to deal with the FA. I know how to rebuild a broken program, and I know how to be excellent kind of job I've seen in the last 20 years was Stephen Keshi of blessed memory at the 2013 AFCON. And then the most... I'm just going to be a solid caretaker. I'm going to be the adult in the room. I'm not going to let this thing fall apart on my watch. I'm not going to be disrespectful to anybody. And we're going to play as well as we can with this team that is not very good. Coaching, I can remember in the last 20 years, is Austin Eguavon.
Yeah.
Right? More than once.
Yep.
I'll say at least twice. The AFCON after which they fired him, and his last stint it's just the adult in the room always. And I appreciate that. There's something about consistency that I like. Is dependable. If the team is great, he doesn't underperform. His floor is really high. His ceiling may not be high enough for some people, but neither is the ceiling of Nigerian ball right now. Let's be real. I mean, Alex Iwobi is one of our best players. Let's keep it real. He plays for Fulham. This is where we are. This is where we are. So, like you said, I'm glad it's not an unknown white man, as I call them. I'll take an unknown black man. They're both unknown.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. All right.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's
Good
all.
luck to
That's
the
all
Eagles.
that's going for. And guys, if he performs, oh, well done. I'll clap for you guys, right?
Yeah.
But I'm worried. I'm very, very worried. But let's move on.
Yeah. So the last topic here is the Vini Jr. He did play today, but you wanted to talk about his suspension in domestic play. So go for it.
Yeah, so with last week we talked about the incidents that happened when he was
Yeah.
sent off. Then surprisingly, we got word that he was going to be banned for 2 games. And Aki, you know what, the way typically a ban works, once it's announced, it should kick in. Yeah, it should kick in. Well, surprisingly, they said he could still play the El Clasico today, which it didn't matter based on what happened eventually, which we'll
He
talk
made the
about
first
shortly.
goal. He made
Yeah,
the first goal.
but they were hammered at the end of the
I
day.
know. They are. They are.
So I thought that was once again Real Madrid getting
Yeah.
getting some leeway that you didn't necessarily need
Of
to get.
course.
If you're going to
Of
suspend
course.
someone, so just suspend him. If you're going to
Of
suspend, why can't you
course.
say, "Oh, we'll suspend you, but it starts in 2 weeks' time"? You're giving people suspended suspension. What kind of rubbish is what kind of rubbish
so
is that?
it's like a stay of execution. It's like a suspended sentence in a court of law. It's actually pretty interesting.
It's
But I
not. Akin is selective. So the 2 games that he
it is
will
selective.
miss, it is. So the 2 games that he will miss now are against non teams that I'm sure what they wanted was a situation that we're still going to punish you, but we want you to play the El Clasico.
In
But for me,
Saudi
I think
Arabia.
in Saudi Arabia, I think that's what they were trying to achieve, right?
I think
Once
you're right.
again, you're setting bad precedents. Yeah. So if you suspend
Mm.
somebody now, and the club say, can you please suspend this suspension? Please, let's push it to. What are you
That
going to
should
tell
not be
them?
happening.
Yeah,
It should not be happening.
exactly. So if I were
Yeah.
them, I would have kept quiet, wouldn't have suspended him. I wouldn't have said anything until after the Clasico. Then I would say, after we've done the reviews, you've been suspended for 2 games, and it kicks in immediately. Why did you have to
Yeah.
announce now and say it's in 2 weeks time, or is in it's some things are just
Yeah.
unnecessary. Yeah, there
I
are
would agree.
smarter ways to deal with this thing. But anyway,
I
that's
would agree.
my
All right. So we've come to the end of our worthy mentions. We're doing decent on time.
yep. We are.
Yinka, let's
Yes, sir.
think about the week that was in the world of football. So we're gonna hit some of the big topics real quick. There
Mm-hmm.
was a Milan derby,
Mm-hmm.
and AC Milan won the Super Coppa of Italy. Did they play this one in Italy, or did they
It's,
bring it somewhere else too? Everyone's bringing all their stuff to other countries.
it was in Saudi too.
Oh my gosh. Why do they keep doing this? How much is Saudi paying them?
Dude, I, I don't know, but it's obviously good enough money to relocate. Yeah.
Oh my god.
See,
I don't like it.
no, no, no. But Aki, okay. So NFL games get played all over Europe now.
I
So
don't
they
like
play
that.
that.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't. I don't.
Okay. So maybe
I
that's
don't.
another discussion. That's another discussion
Yeah.
for another day. Let's put that on
I don't
ice.
like it.
Yeah. So you will
Yeah.
tell me more about it in later episodes. But that's
Yeah.
what's going on. People want to expand their brands. People want to, bring the game to new audience. I get it, but I'm like, but we have streaming platforms. For example, NFL has a streaming platform. So I'm in Nigeria, you're in the US, you can watch it on TV. I can watch it on my phone, on my iPad, right? The people in UK can do the same. Why bring the games? But what they will tell you is the live experience is different, and everybody that's seen live sport before, you will agree with me on this, right? Watching a match in the stadium is completely
Yeah.
different than watching it on TV. Completely different. Yeah. But does it make someone become a better fan, or does it increase your commitment levels to the sport? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's an argument that might suggest that it does. But going back to
The
the
game.
Milan Derby, the game
Yeah.
itself, um, Inter got cocky, right? And they were sucker punched. I
Mm.
I don't I don't think there's a better way for me to put that. They got cocky and they were sucker punched. They were leading 2-0 at halftime. Even before Milan scored, AC Milan, that is, this Iranian guy, Taremi had some decent chances to score. They took off, Inter took off, they took off Thuram, I think, and I think they also took off Lautaro Martinez, right? Then Milan brought on Rafael Leao. The game changed, and they scored 3 goals. And the goals were scored. They scored the first one 52nd minute. Then they equalized 80th minute, and they scored the winner in injury time. I'm happy for Tammy Abraham. He scored the winner. But it was a decent match. Remember last week we were talking about the Rome Derby, that it was boring. This was fun. This was a very, 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 very good game. I really enjoyed it. So it just tells you that the strength. So the top 6 in Italy, you can put them together and say you guys are in the same category in terms of strength, in terms of quality. That is why right now there is no clear favorite to win the Serie A.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. It was a good game.
So
it was a good game.
I like that last point. So I've said this before. Is the parity in Italy good, or is it a sign of mediocrity? So are the top 6 absolutely good, or are they just like relative to each other? Oh, there's really no difference, and absolutely they're not great. Now, Inter did make it to the Champions League final just 2 seasons ago, but were they good?
Mm-hmm.
Were they great that season, or was it just, hey, tournament football, things happen? So that's the one thing to watch out for in Italy for me. Will someone break out and just stand out from the rest of the pack, or is it just gonna be a Tammy Abraham kind of league? You know what I mean? Like, because when I think about Tammy Abraham, if he went to Spain today, would he stand out? If he came back to England, would he stand out? Arsenal fans, and we're gonna talk about Arsenal next. Arsenal fans are always talking about Vlahovic, but is Vlahovic a world-class player? I mean, he plays when he wants to play. He scores a lot of penalties. It's big, it's strong, but is it that much better than Havertz? Is Højlund not better than Vlahovic in 3 years? So when I think about this, I'm like, who's gonna spend the requisite amount of money? You know how much I love Pulisic, but is Pulisic a game changer? In Italy, he is. It's kind of crazy. At Chelsea, he was a guy. It was just a guy. So what is happening in Serie A? It's fascinating, and I think we need the rest of this season at least to see where things end up. Before we make big proclamations around whether Italy is back or not. But for now, it's fun. You can be competitive. Fun. Yeah, you can be competitive without being good.
Yep, I agree.
So
but I think you've been a bit unfair on
say more
on Syria, because look across border, King. Where's the quality? We talked about this last like 2 weeks ago or thereabout. Where is the quality? We said
France?
Rio Ferdinand. No. But seriously, even the France, Akin. Yeah, right now in France, who's the best striker in France?
It's Davis.
Is Davis really a world beater?
No.
You see what I'm going to?
Not. Yeah,
you could take Tammy Abraham, dump in the French league, and he might even perform better than Davis.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
So I think there's a problem with the talent, the factory, right? Mbappe has been top notch on top of the whatever, and Haaland since 5-6 years ago. Is there anybody laying claim to that right now?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Lamine Yamal, we're still waiting to see. So we've been spoiled, right? And then, as in our generation, we've seen strikers, elite strikers, that if those people were to be in existence today, Akin, right? Imagine a Gabriel Batistuta being around, or a Crespo, or a Marcel Sayas, or Zum Zamorano in today's game. where Kai Havertz is seeing open post and is kicking the ball over. Come on now.
You know who I thought about, this past week on this
Yeah.
topic, because he was speaking, Faustino Asprilla. Asprilla was speaking because someone was asking him about his time in the Premiership, and the defenders he went up against, and what does he think about the strikers today? And of course, he was right that the strikers are not good, and frankly, the defenders are not good these days, but the strikers are really not good. And Asprilla today will be $100 million striker or
Yeah.
more.
Or more.
Because the athletic ability, the finishing, the just devastating speed. And there's really no one like that. Because
There's no one.
when I think about even Alexander Isak today, I'm like, is not particularly fast, is not terribly quick, is not terribly strong, is tall and gangly and skinny. He can score. Is in form right now, but we've seen him not in form, and it's not pretty.
Exactly. And it's not pretty. It's
It
not
is not. It
pretty.
is not pretty. So I'm like, he's playing in slow motion. He's playing. It looks good because Hoyland is terrible, and for now, he's still young, and because Havertz is terrible forever, he's not young. And that's is the best of a dying breed. Unfortunately, it's kind of where I'm at
Absolutely.
on this.
I agree
Yeah,
with you. So that's my take on Syria. Yes, you're right to some extent, but yeah,
yeah.
they still
No, it's fair.
they have some decent players there. Anyway, so that was the
That's
Milan
fair.
derby. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to England real quick. There was a Carabao Cup semifinals over 2 days. First leg.
Yeah.
These are two-legged finals.
Mm-hmm.
In the first game, Newcastle came to the Emirates
Mm-hmm.
and won 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just pause there for 2 seconds. Yinka, remember I told you there is no fan base in the world that I hate more than the Arsenal fan base.
Yeah.
They are quite literally the worst.
They're the
Quite
worst.
literally. You will
The worst.
have plenty of opportunity in this segment to talk about them. I will not waste my time talking about them. But what I would tell you is, I was thinking about this today because I knew we were going to talk about this topic. Uh, I was the only voice, I believe, in the world defending City over the last 10 weeks, telling everybody to calm down. Yeah, it's a crisis, but the players didn't get terrible overnight. Having a loss of form, it is what it is. Uh, what I would tell Arsenal fans, and quickly, just we're recording on a Sunday, so Arsenal already crashed out of the FA Cup by penalties. Odegaard is not all the way back. His confidence is not all the way back. His fitness is not all the way back. His twinkle toes thing is not quite working. Havertz is terrible right now. And like I said, maybe forever. And these two games were like your typical Bukayo Saka games. And he's not around. His able deputy, Nwaneri, played 45 minutes. And now he's out for several weeks. There's a lot of endeavor and a lot of strength and a lot of defensive effort from Gabriel Martinelli, but there's not a lot of end product. Yinka, you mentioned something about Arsenal's XG. One goal out of the last 8 XG. Today against Man U, it was like a 3.89 XG. They scored one goal. Man U was a point something XG. They scored one goal. So this is what I think is happening. I'm gonna go straight to what is Arsenal really gonna do? And what I would say is, of the last 3 major Arsenal managers, not counting Freddie, who was there for 2 sandwiches, only one has told us the truth about whether the club will pay money or not. That was Unai Emery, and he got fired. Unai Emery was like, "This club don't want to spend money. We don't have money." So I think Arsenal better get used to these kinds of performances and pray that the players they have today step up, because there's no cavalry coming. All right, they're not gonna buy a striker. They are not. gonna buy a striker. They are not, and there's no one coming from the academy. I think I don't know what Juju Arteta did to get Declan Rice. It's not about to be repeated in January or otherwise. So I skipped ahead a little bit, talked about the FA Cup, but I'm gonna yield my time, and you can jump in and talk about Arsenal.
But that's fine. So let's start with the Carabao Cup. Like you said, Arsenal lost 2-0. That game should have. I mean, we're going down the lines of Murphy's Law again. Every bad thing that could have happened. Yeah. Yes, so many players are injured or off form. It's a bad combination to have. Yeah. On a good day, the FA Cup game today and the Carling Cup game yesterday, during the week, Arsenal should have won by a 4-goal margin. Yeah. The chances were there. And these were not half chances, they were tap-ins that you miss kind of chances. Yeah. Backing, this is not new. This is exactly what happened last year. This is exactly what happened last year. And this is exactly the same thing that happened. No, so I'm agreeing with you on Arsenal fans being the worst. Yeah,
Terrible.
since the game today, a couple of things have happened that I completely want to dissociate myself from. Yeah, going after Kai Havertz's family, saying
His
the wife
wife.
should have a miscarriage, saying I'll come and kill you, blah 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 blah, is just it's sad. Saying, "Oh, Kai Havertz, get out of my club." You're
fair.
cheap.
You could tell him
No,
to
no,
get
no,
out
no,
of
no.
your club.
But it's not your club. Let's just put it. Let's be frank with it. You are a fan. Akin, I'll say this again.
Go
The only
on.
person
I'm
that
listening.
can fire Havertz right now is Mr. Kroenke. It's not you, right?
Yeah.
If you, Akin, hear me out.
I'm okay.
Hear
I'm
me
okay
out.
with that. But go on. Keep going. I'm
No, no,
okay
no,
with
no,
that.
no.
But keep going.
That is not as bad as I wish you have a miscarriage and all. But
That's terrible.
hear me out. Here's what I'm
Okay.
saying. If your player is in a funk, what you're doing right now is not gonna get him out of that funk. It's gonna make it worse for him.
I would agree.
When he was scoring, you were saying 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scored. You were shouting. You were singing. So do you think a player is going to maintain form all through? No. Football is like this. There are only few players that are like that all through. Those are the Ronaldos, the Messis, the Benzemas. Even Benzema had this. Do you understand? You will have. Haaland just came out of his own funk recently. He had a 5-game, 6-game funk. The Isak that you guys are shouting for that you want. I can show you clips of Isak missing sitters. Not at Sociedad, at Newcastle.
This season.
At Newcastle. This season. The game against Spurs that he scored, he should have scored at least 4. He had sitters that he missed. Right? So I hate all this living in the moment, no context, no nuance. It's just black or white. No, you can't do that. If you're a fan, if your player is having a is not in form, what you're required to do is you put your hand around him, right? It's better for you to do that and try and build them up than be shouting. That shouting and this anger is not going to change anything. You're right. Arsenal can't buy anybody in January. Let's be honest.
They won't, but they can. But they won't.
Akin,
Yeah.
I'll repeat this again. Yeah?
Okay.
Everybody's saying, oh, Isak, Arsenal should go and get Newcastle. Do you know Newcastle is richer than you guys? The owners of Newcastle are richer. They have money. They have money. They can't spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that you now go to Newcastle, they'll look at you and they'll be like, okay, give us 300 million. And you're like, no, okay, it's 300 million.
No, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure Isak is the answer, but
No.
I feel okay.
I'm just using Isak as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. I'm just using Isak as an example. Same thing with the Sporting Lisbon. You go to them and say, give me Victor Gyökeres. They will look at you. We are playing Champions League, aren't we? So I'll give you my main striker in this January. I will now be looking for another. It does not work that way. Buying players is not grocery shopping. Guys, Get off it.
Mm,
It's not
mm,
grocery shopping. It
mm,
isn't.
mm.
It isn't. Now, here's the thing. This is the problem I have with the Arsenal hierarchy and the acquisitions that they've bought. If you are really, 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 really thin on cash, then you've made some questionable acquisitions in the past.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all. And that is a legit, I'm not complaining about, I've told you before, I don't have a problem with Kai Havertz as a player. The price tag I have a
Mm,
problem with. Yeah?
mm.
The price tag I have a problem with. Yeah? For that 70 or whatever, nah. Even
65 million. 65 million.
65, right? Looking at the Merino acquisition right now, I'm like, if I knew Martin, what's his name, Lewis Kelly is knocking on the door of the first team. He can play left back, play center midfield. Maybe I didn't need to spend on Merino. I could have kept my money, right? These are the kind of things that I will say, okay, Arsenal hierarchy, y'all need to be smarter with the way you spend your money because
I would agree.
it is obvious you don't have the money. Yeah. And I can look at Arteta on the pitch and say, you could do this here, do this here. But for all this, Arteta out, this. I'm like, this is the highest Arsenal has been in 13 years. What am I saying? In 15, do you understand? So, and I said it last week or 2 weeks ago, I told you, I said, I believe last season was an abnormally. It was.
What about the season before?
So, see, there's growth, yeah? In business, the way what we do, you might have growth, but in 1 year you go up, right? And in the second year you come down. But on the average, there is still growth. That is what is going on here. The spike last
Okay.
year was too high, and now there's a lull, and everybody's believing, there's no growth. Guys, it's
Okay.
not the
I can
end of the
believe that.
world. It's not the end of the
Okay.
world. Given the situation that the club is in, given the injuries, given the off-form players, given the thinness of the squad, which is the fault of ownership, no problem. Yeah? Context, like you say, Akin, it matters. So for this meltdown that everybody is having, I'm just looking at it like maybe it's because we're older or we've seen
Yeah.
worse or there is more to life than football. Maybe that's where you and I are calm and we're like, okay, yeah. Somebody said, Ateta should have rotated today. I said, rotate to where now?
Rotate to what?
Rotate to what? To where?
Yinka, I looked at the bench and the first three names were left backs.
Exactly.
It was Tierney, the
Calafiori
Zinchenko.
and Zinchenko.
No, Talafiori was actually not in the squad.
Wasn't even in the
Yeah.
squad.
So Zinchenko and Kivier. So left backs or left center halves. So I'm like, okay, so you're hoping you need a left back at some point, and then there was Butler Oyedeji, who I've never seen play before in my life.
I've seen him play in the under 21s. He's a good striker, actually. He's
I've
decent,
never
but
seen him play.
He's not ready. He's not ready yet. He's a striker.
So,
He's a striker, and he's not ready yet. So going back to my point, we can wrap this up.
Okay.
So the way it is right now, if you look at the injury list, today 3 players were added to Arsenal's injury list. 3.
Yeah.
Today only. So we had
Jesus.
You had Jorginho. You had Timber.
Yeah.
3 players. So add that to Ben White, Tomiyasu, Calafiori, Saka, right? So I'm talking about 7. And this is an Arsenal team that you don't have a deep squad. I told you, Arsenal have 16 good players. Other clubs had 20 something or thereabout. This is what happened to Liverpool last season that we were saying, guys, the fact that they are still competing, we're clapping for them. You see Liverpool with their full complement, see what they're doing. Yeah, it might still happen to them this season. They might have injuries this season. They might. I don't know yet. But right now, this is what is going on. So for people to say throw the baby and the bathwater away, it's absolutely ridiculous. Dare I say even immature, right?
Yeah.
Guys, I don't understand the whole. Yeah, we know Arsenal. Yeah, the management. Yes, if you ask me, were there things that they could have done better? Of course, which I've itemized. But this whole ranting and shouting and Come on, guys. It's not. They're taking it too far. Anyway, I rest my case.
Okay. So, do you think Arsenal are in trouble?
See, define trouble.
Same way we've talked about City for the last 6 weeks.
Okay, so Arsenal, either whatever happens this season, Arsenal will be in top 4.
Okay, but that's not what they set out to do at the beginning of the season. Same with City.
No. So what you set out to do is to compete, right, for the title. Right now, are they still competing for the title? Yes.
Yes.
Right now, is to compete for the Champions League. Are they still in competition for the Champions League? Yes.
Yes.
So that's why I said define trouble. At the end of the season, 2-3 weeks to the end of the season, will they still be in contention for the league? I think they will be. Are they going to win it? I don't know. But do I think they will be out of contention? Hell no. This is the same boat that we were in same time last year before they went to Dubai. There was a massive funk that we could not score. Even when Saka was playing, Arsenal could not score. Create plenty chances, could not score. Are people forgetting? Then they came back in January and we went like bashing people 5, 6, 7. This same team, all of a sudden, everyone's not shouting, we need a striker. People, come on, guys. Guys. It's irritating. And you will see people that supposedly know about football. They're still going along with this rhetoric. Oh, they need a striker. Come on. Yes, they need a striker, but not the way you guys are saying it. I rest my case, Aki.
Okay, so you don't think Arsenal are necessarily in trouble. There's something going on with the domestic cups. Do you think Arsenal can go to St. James's Park and overturn the 0-2 deficit that they got?
Yeah, because St. James's Park is in February. It's not anytime soon.
It's a month. Yeah, it's a month from last
away.
Week. Yeah.
So, and a lot of things can happen between now. The same Newcastle that is in form right now, come February, Newcastle might be on a loss or on a losing spree of like 4 or 5 games. It can happen, right? Do I think Arsenal can go to Newcastle and win 2-0? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. Will it happen? I'm not putting my money on it. Of course, it can happen.
Do you think on Wednesday of this week that Arsenal can beat Spurs in the North London Derby?
So, last week I said this thing just the same way. I said Arsenal should be able to beat Newcastle, right? But if the game goes south, I will not be surprised based on form and what is currently going on. That's the same response I'll give you for Spurs, right? Of course, Arsenal can beat Spurs. Spurs is they're almost in the same boat as Arsenal in terms of injuries. Yeah, in terms of squad strength.
You said they were worse.
Exactly. They were worse than us, right? They barely beat a non-league team today. They struggled. Yeah. It was injury time that they scored their first goal. Own goal in injury time, right? So if it's at home on Wednesday, my problem now is the fans that will be in the stadium, right? If things go south in the first 5 minutes and they turn on the team, you're just going to make matters worse. That's what's going to happen.
My God.
Why not do your job as a fan? If you know you're not going to, then don't bother to come to the stadium. Do your job as a fan. Support your team. Put your arm around them. They need that right now. Not all these, you idiots, all choice words that you're throwing at these guys. If these guys are on social media and they see these things, you think it's going to make them play better? Do you really think it's going to make them play better?
Yeah. I hope they're not on social media. Yinka, you brought up Spurs, so let's talk about them real quick. They did win in the second semifinal, 1-0 against Liverpool.
Yep.
But the second leg will be at Anfield. So what's your prediction for the second leg? Who do you think is going to make the final?
Okay, so I think it's going to be Liverpool. I think Liverpool will have. They have more firepower to take care of Spurs. Liverpool could have won that first game actually. Yeah, it was a smash and grab by Spurs, and I thought the Spurs goal scorer was also lucky to still be on the pitch. I think he should have been sent off. Yeah, But I think Liverpool have enough. Right now, the first leg is not a guarantee for both sides. I mean, for both ties rather, for the
Mm.
Arsenal's Castle game and for the Liverpool Sports game. Yeah, and there's no what do you call it? What we had in Champions League before, the home goal advantage, away goal advantage. You don't
Away,
have that.
yeah, away
There's
goal
no
rule.
away.
Yeah,
There's no away goal rule. So if you go there now and you score 2-0 or it's 3-1, you're going into extra time, and the
extra
extra
time.
time the away goal rule doesn't apply anymore, right? And I mean, then you go into penalties. So I think it's still open, both sides actually. But I
Okay,
think Liverpool will win. The
okay.
Newcastle Arsenal one, yeah, I'm not as confident. But
Mm.
can Arsenal pull it out? Of course they can. Of course.
Okay. Thank you, Inka.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I want to talk about Man U. Uh, and I want to talk about them because I'm very impressed by them. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
impressed by the performance. That's 2 games in a row now. This has not been a good stretch for Ruben Amorim. I think his
Mm-hmm.
first 12 matches before today,
Mm-hmm.
they've only won. They won 4. They drew 2. They lost 6. That is not a good way to start your Man U career. Um, and then he went to Anfield and almost won at Anfield. Should have won
Yeah.
at Anfield,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they come to the Emirates today. They score a fantastic goal. Again, you know how much I'm not a fan of Bruno Fernandes, but I've really been giving him credit the last 2 weeks because he showed up. He has showed up. He has played extremely well. Maybe there's something Amorim is saying to him or doing to him. For me, you and I talk about this all the time. How do you know if someone is a good coach or good manager? You're not in there with them. You're not giving them a test. And it can't just be results, but it's little things like this. When you see a grown man who is extremely filthy rich already, right? Who is extremely accomplished for club and country, start doing things you've never seen them do before. 3 weeks after a new coach comes in, then it's the coach's influence. Then
Mm.
this man knows how to communicate. Then his man management skills are top notch. Bruno Fernandes, for these last couple weeks, is a different player. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, is playing way more athletic than he's ever played. Is kneading things together. In the midfield, is still as sharp as ever, as evidenced by that goal today. He did not hesitate. That was the pick of the goals. And I thought Gabriel's goal was amazing, especially for a defender. But
Mm-hmm.
Bruno Fernandes' goal was, oh my God, that was crazy. The
Yeah.
window through which he squeezed it, the one time stabbing into it, he didn't hesitate. None of that. He is playing with so much confidence right now. I did not like this player, but right now, he's playing like one of the best players in the league right now. So I'm happy for Amarim. I was a fan. I know you're a fan. Speaking objectively, the better team won today against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Um, I liked what you said in our group chat. You said the better prepared team won this game. I know what the XG says, but there were what? There were did Arsenal take all 5 PKs?
Yeah.
No, they took all 5 or just 4?
They
Did
took
they have to
4.
take their 5th? They took
No, no,
4.
no, no. I think they took 4.
They took 4. Okay.
I didn't watch the PKs, by the way. But go ahead.
Okay. No, I watched the PK. So I watched the first half and then
They
I
took 4.
watched the
They
PKs.
took 4.
Okay, they took 4. Yeah. So I was driving for the second half. So the extra time. So if you add the one PK that was missed during the game, that
Mm-hmm.
makes 10 PKs. That makes 10 PKs.
Mm.
The confidence was on one side today, and it was
Yeah.
on the away side's
Yeah.
side, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
Every single Man U penalty was taken with so much calm. For me, that's coaching. You can call it recency. You can call it whatever. I didn't know that Ahmad could take penalties. Never seen him take them before. I mean, everybody was in command. I don't want to go overboard with it, but I thought Amorim was a good coach. Now I'm convinced he can be a good coach in England, which is important. Go for it.
So I've told you this. I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. I think the reason why they look good today is because they came and they had a defensive plan. Watch them struggle at Old Trafford against a team that they're supposed to beat.
No,
Watch
I
that happen.
don't think the players are all of a sudden good enough to play for Man U. I'm not. That's why I said I'm not going overboard. I'm not saying that at all. But they had a plan and they played well and they played with confidence. And their supposedly best player played like the best player that he's supposed to be. So that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I know today I would have rather had Bruno Fernandes over Odegaard. That's not always gonna be the case. It was the case today.
Okay, so let's pump the brakes a bit. Yeah. So what I said was the better organized team.
Yeah,
not
you said that.
the
Yeah.
better team.
Yeah.
Today, no doubt, Arsenal were the better side. Yeah.
On the pitch?
Yes, they were the better side.
I only watched one half. They didn't.
Okay,
They didn't seem like the better side to me.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
The see, stats is not everything, but it's an indication as to what happened. If I read through the stats right now, it is completely obvious, right, that Arsenal were the better side. But in terms of organization, right, Man U were better organized in the sense that this is how we want to play. Yeah. If we hit them on the counter, we hit them on the counter. If we can't, we lock up. So that's what I meant by the better organized side, if you get what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
After United scored, Arsenal just went, there was disarray, right? They were chopping and changing. Oh yeah, you, Skelly, get off. You, come in. They were all over the place. But United kept their discipline and they were organized. There's a difference between the two. So that's what I'm trying to let you know, right?
So I think you're saying Arsenal were outcoached today. That's what you just said.
If you want to put it that way, that's right?
coaching.
If you want to put it that way, But if Rice, Kai Havertz were to be clinical, you will not be saying that, Akin, because the scoreline today should have been 5-1.
I know, but
it should have been 5-1.
So it might not be fair.
It might not be fair on Mikel to say that he was outcoached, but I understand what you're saying, and I kind of agree. I think Amorim came with the plan, and the team executed it to the T.
There you go.
That's it.
I think that's what I'm looking for. They executed the plan.
They executed the plan to the T, right? And it's the same thing with Newcastle. So now this is where Arsenal then needs to think. It seems teams have now realized this is how we can play them. Everton came. If Everton had a better counter-attacking game plan, or they had better offensive whatever, Everton could have beat Arsenal at Emirates. Yeah? But it was 0-0. Do you understand? So the teams that come to the Emirates and say, you play, I play, they get hammered. Nottingham Forest came and they were like, we are fourth in the table, we can play you. They were hammered 3-0, right? But when you come and you're defensively resolute and you're not messing around and you try and hit Arsenal on the counter, that is the recipe to get points of Arsenal. Okay. That is the recipe.
Fair enough.
And it is not left for Arteta to be able to, you need to evolve now. You've evolved to the point of, let's make set piece because we're getting so many corner kicks because we're attacking. Let's turn set piece into a strength. Now people have decoded your set piece also. You need to evolve again. You have to. You can't continue to play like this. Anyway.
Fair enough.
Let's move on.
We're done talking about Arsenal. Done. No mass Arsenal. Okay. There was a really weird El Clasico today. Like we talked about, it was in Saudi, the Super Cup in Spain. Let's talk about that. Barcelona won 5-2. Real Madrid started out crazy. Mbappe scored a really, really, really good goal. And Vini Jr. made that goal, with surprise, surprise, great defensive play, Yinka. Great defensive, great transitional play. And then Mbappe slotted it in. I thought it was about to be one of those days. It was not. And then Barcelona were just clinical the rest of the way. There was no doubt in my mind they were the better team today. Barcelona were dominant. Rafinha was back again with 2 goals. Lamine Yamal just, man, the goal today, like the deftness of that touch, like I'm looking at this long goalkeeper. Just, man, I can't say enough good things, Yinka. I'm just gonna say, if I was Ancelotti, I would resign this January. I think it's time. I what do you think?
Okay, so I didn't watch the game. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have much to say about the game. But on your Ancelotti take, why the rush? Yeah, you're second in La Liga. You're still in the hunt for Champions League. Just wait the season out. Yeah, then you can go at the end of the season.
I think he hasn't shown that the team that he has what it takes to get this team out of the funk they're in critical times.
Yeah.
Today they ran out of ideas. Their plan lasted 5 minutes, Yinka. Once they scored, that was the end of the plan. They didn't have a second gear. They didn't have a plan B. It was embarrassing.
But actually, their plan is be defensive and let Vini, Rodrigo, and Mbappe do their thing. That has always been Ancelotti's plan all along. Yeah.
But the personnel is not great because they're playing auxiliary center backs. You know what I mean? Because of all the injuries, they're playing auxiliary center backs, and they're not playing to the strengths of those auxiliary center backs. If you're playing a holding midfielder at center back, you might be able to put some packages in that will mix things up a little bit instead of asking them to play like traditional center backs that they're not. So again, this is where new blood might come in, someone who can stay up late and not snooze off like the old man that Ancelotti is. I don't know, man. This is I don't know. Maybe I'm off base, but
yeah. But I hear you. He's not getting the team. They're not functioning at 100% right now. And could that change? I think it can. Because if you go to La Liga, good segue to La Liga, Atletico Madrid are on a roll. They won again today. Or was it yesterday? So they've won last five. They won their last 5. They are sitting pretty on top of the table right now. They're a point ahead of Madrid. So back to your point, Madrid is still not playing well. They're just 1 point off top in La Liga.
That's fair.
So there's no. I don't think there's a cause for alarm. It's not that bad for Ancelotti, for them to look at Ancelotti and say, "Guy, out the door." Right? At the end of the season, if they come up empty, if the trophy cabinet is empty, then Xabi Alonso will be their manager by 1st of July.
That's a hot take. That's hot.
Trust me. I think Xabi Alonso will look at Leverkusen and say, "Guys, I've been respectful to you guys. I didn't run after one season. I paid my dues. Let me go home." I think Xabi Alonso is going to be the Real Madrid's next manager. Anyway,
Xabi Alonso may have a job in Manchester at the end of this season. Yinka.
That is if Manchester is not in prison at the end of the season.
Xabi Alonso may have a job in Manchester, so this will be a very
in prison at the end of the season. But we'll see.
This will be a very interesting off season. Okay, so you got
yes, sir.
quick run around Europe. Anything that stood out to you that you want to talk about?
There was a crazy game in the Bundesliga this weekend. Dortmund Leverkusen. If you missed it, you missed it.
I
You
missed
missed it.
it. I missed it. Tell
Wow.
us about
It
it.
was a crazy game. Ended up 3-2.
Who won?
Leverkusen won, and it was in Dortmund. So Leverkusen scored 2 quick goals. Patrick Schick is on fire right now. He's benching
Yeah.
our Nigerian Boniface. Yeah,
Boniface, yeah.
Patrick Schick. He scored 2. I think he scored 2 or 1. I can't remember.
Hmm.
They started. They scored 2. It was 2-0. Then Dortmund pulled one back. Then Leverkusen scored almost immediately. Then towards the end of the game, a dubious penalty was given to Dortmund. And the last 20 minutes was just, it was back and forth, hitting the post, save upon save. It was, I think that's the best football game I've seen in a long, long, long
Wow.
time.
That's high praise.
It was a good game. It was a very good game. But Leverkusen won eventually. Bayern, on the other hand, dubious penalty to win against, was it Mönchengladbach?
It was Mönchengladbach. I saw that. And then Mönchengladbach's English Facebook accounts, posted something on Facebook. I can't remember. It was just hilarious.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was almost like, we expected this. I can't remember exactly how they said it. Like, it happens again or something like that. Like Harry Kane scores a penalty and stuff. I think it was like the 63rd minute.
It was a dubious penalty. Was it Musiala or Ulisse that was tackled? It was a dive.
I think it was Musiala. I'm not sure.
It was a dive, right? But as it stands in the Bundesliga, Bayern is on top of the table. They are 4 points ahead of Leverkusen. Leverkusen have won their last 5 games. Bayern,
that's good.
3 out of 5. So I think the Bundesliga might not be done and dusted yet. Yeah,
I like that.
It might end up being quite competitive. Anyway, so that's Bundesliga. Quick trip to the Syria. Syria, Napoli and Inter won their last 5. So Napoli is first, but they've played 2 games more than Inter, and they are 4 points ahead of Inter. Atlanta drew their last 2 games, so they've dropped off a bit. But they are also in the thick of it. But right now, I think the top 3 are beginning to separate from the rest. We had top 6 before. Right now, I think it's Napoli, Inter, Atlanta that it's looking like a 3-horse race right now in Syria. Milan, by the way, they are languishing in 8th, 28 points. Napoli is
with their new manager.
7 points. Yeah, with their new manager, but they have a trophy in their cabinet,
Super
the Super Coppa. So yeah, that's what's happening in Europe. We said French league is not a league we will be talking about anymore, so I'm gonna skip that. Skip that. But there are midweek games in the EPL. The North London Derby is the peak of the games. It's gonna be an interesting one. 2 teams that are struggling.
Not good right now.
Exactly.
Not good right now.
They're not good right now. So I think it's gonna end up in a draw. I think it's gonna be a draw.
Yinka, I need to check the time because I'm traveling that evening. But I didn't know there was a game when I set up this travel. And I just set up the travel, but I was actually trying to be a good professional and finish out all my meetings before heading to the airport. This is what I do, but I could have canceled meetings and flown earlier, but instead I'm flying very late. For me, anyway, for all day meetings on Thursday. But so I might be able to be at my desk while this game is in the background. So we'll see about that.
The other game to look out for, Akin, before we move on, Nottingham Forest Liverpool is another key game.
Yeah, this one back at Forest because Forest won at Anfield early in the season. Yeah,
exactly. Back at Forest.
Okay.
Forest is they're on a roll. But let's see how they fare against Liverpool.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Inka. Now let's talk about a transfer window. We've kind of talked about it a little bit. So what are you hearing? I think we should start with Napoli. Your boy, whose name I can't say, Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah.
Everyone's telling me he's pretty much off, and PSG at the first in line to get him. So,
Mm-hmm.
but before we talk about the actual move, like, why would Napoli not want him? And please don't tell me it's the crazy coach again.
So, Aki,
Oh,
since when have you and I been discussing about how transfers work? For transfers
yeah,
to happen, three things have to happen. The buying club was willing to buy, the selling club was willing to sell, and the player must be willing to go. All along, the only reason why Kvaratskhelia was still at Liverpool was because he wasn't willing to go.
at Napoli,
At Napoli,
yeah,
sorry. He wasn't willing to go. He was like, Napoli were more than happy. De Laurentiis has been hinting to cash in on him for a long time. Imagine one young boy that I bought for, was it not £4 or £5 from an unknown entity in the
yeah, something
Georgian,
like that.
right? And I'm
Yeah,
going to sell him for over 100 million now. The guy has been hinting to guy, come, there are offers here, offers there. The young man was like, I'm happy
I
here. I'm
like it
not
here.
going anywhere. I like it here. So right now that he's had not too good interaction with what's his name? Our friend, Mr. Conte, who is
Yeah,
always saying, "I don't care who you are. You have defensive responsibilities, and you need
and
to
that's
cater
that's
to."
not his ministry at all.
And exactly, Rashford is like me defense, me. Ha, I don't know how to do that. Though. And it's like, okay, is this a perfect time for us to cash in on this young man and move on, right? So he's most likely going to PSG. I understand City and Liverpool have put their neck into this whole
Yeah.
discussion to see whether they can prime away, but nah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay. All
I
right.
think it's going to PSG. I
All
think
right.
it's going to
Okay.
PSG.
So the other one is, are either of Gyökeres or Vlahovic gonna move this January?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. So Gyökeres is because of Lisbon. Lisbon is saying, sorry, what we do is we hunt for young players around the globe and we bring them on board. I'm playing Champions League right now. I don't want to do that in January. I'm not letting this
Mm,
guy go. Nothing is gonna affect his value come summer. Yeah?
that's true.
So
That's true.
we'll get rid of him in the summer, not now. By now, so we would have bought the player his replacement, then we let him go. So going back to the same thing, plenty clubs want Gyökeres. He's not keen. He's like, I don't mind, yeah. But Lisbon are like, sorry, you ain't going nowhere. You're not going anywhere.
Fair
Um,
enough.
for Vlahovic is he loves Italy. He loves
Mm,
Italy. Vlahovic more or less orchestrated his move to Juventus, if you
yeah.
remember.
No, he did.
Yeah,
From
he did.
Fiorentina.
From
Yep.
Fiorentina, he did.
Yeah.
All right. Right now, he still believes Juve is a big club. I am the best striker in Juve. Why would I want to leave? And I don't think Mota also wants to get rid of him. So Arsenal might want him, Liverpool might want him, everybody might want him. I don't think he's leaving. I don't think
Mm,
so. Unless Juve make life miserable for him, which is not the case. He's been playing this season and he's been doing well. The games he's missed has been because of injury, not because he's been off form
mm.
or anything. So I don't think he's living. I don't think he's living at all. Those two,
Okay.
nah. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Do you have any others?
City are active in the market for a striker, a midfielder, and a defender. Omar Mamouche is the second highest goal scorer in the Bundesliga right now. He's Egyptian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they just realized if something happens to Haaland, we don't have a striker.
We have nothing.
We have
Yeah.
nothing. So they're going after Mamouche. Uh, I don't know. Mamouche is a good player, no doubt about it. And
Is
I
it
like.
City? Good enough to play for City?
So you took that out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Is he City
Uh,
level? I just see him as like a Doku or a Savinho once again,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's a good player, no doubt. And he's had just one hot season, right? But goes back to there's a lack of talent, Aki.
Mm,
There are no. Do you understand?
yeah.
Mamouche 3 seasons ago, who knew about Mamouche? Nobody. So
Not
he had
I.
one
Mm-hmm.
flash season, and everybody was out shouting about Mamouche, Mamouche. Come on. And
Hmm.
there's an Uzbekistan defender that they are getting from Lens. Is a young boy. I think that one is for the future. And there's also one midfielder that they're looking out for. Interestingly, Kyle Walker is on his way out. There's a funny side story to that. You heard about his wife that was going to divorce him once,
Yeah.
and I heard that the pay in Saudi is kind of making her have a rethink, which is quite, which is quite,
Wow.
which
That
is
is
quite
amazing.
interesting. So Kyle Walker is on his way out. I understand he has indicated that he wants to leave.
Yeah,
Um,
and Pep is happy to let him go.
Pep
So
is more than
it's
happy to let him go.
he
Do you
hasn't been
understand what I'm
good.
saying?
He
He
hasn't
hasn't
been
been
good this
good.
season.
Exactly, he hasn't been good.
Mm-mm.
Araujo from Barca is being touted. I mean, Juventus is after Araujo. Barca. That's one. That's another one to look out for. But that's it. There's been rumors around Arsenal as usual, wanting to buy everybody, and I think agents just use Arsenal for clout these days.
It's not
Um,
just agents and the worst fans in the world. So
and
it's
the worst
both.
fans in the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Imagine people just go and get Gyökeres. I'm like, now so easy get. It's not easy.
Go
You
and
don't
get.
get. You go and get.
Go and get.
It's not easy, right? And there must be a willingness to it. So, like I always tell you, there's always everybody has a price tag, right?
Mm,
If you yes, you can go and throw mad money at people, but it would depend on your P&S rules, not just your pockets anymore,
mm,
right? So
mm.
right now, Arsenal know the amount of money. All clubs know the amount of money they can spend in January. They know, and when I mean amount of money, I mean in terms of wages and transfer
Yeah.
fee. They
Yeah.
know.
And
So
agent fees.
if I'm talking to a player already and the agent says, "Wait, the guy is gonna anything less than 150 is not coming," and I know my budget is 100, why would I even go and talk to the club? It stops there. The inquiry stops there, unless the agent comes to meet you and say, "My player wants to come to Arsenal," and you now say, "Oh, my player wants to come to United," and you go, "Our budget, right, is 50,000 pounds." Ah, man, that's low. We were thinking of
Yeah.
100. We can't do more than 50. Then you go to the player and say, "These guys can't pay you more than 50." Oh. And if the player says, "You
Hmm.
know what? I don't mind. I'll take it." Then that's like, okay, we have a deal. Then you now go to the club and the club says, "What? That guy, we're not selling him." It ends there, irrespective of whether you've agreed terms with the player. It ends there. Or the club says, "Oh, we're only going to let him go for 100. Your budget is 75." It ends there. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. So transfers are more complicated these days. There's no deep, endless pocket for anybody to just dip into and pay. So people need to think of that.
That's fair.
Spurs are in the market for quite a number of people. Um, yeah, they are. So I understand everybody's talking to
Uh,
Marcus Rashford, even including your club, Arsenal. They're talking to Marcus Rashford, and Rashford is, you know, that Rashford one is going to be a funny one. United, I don't know how true this is, that United has said the transfer value is 21 million pounds. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
but Rashford
25
has
million,
his
25 million euros. Yeah.
exactly. Rashford has his 300 and how much is his fee again? His weekly salary 300 and something,
350, 400.
350
Who
ish.
knows?
That he's trying to see if he can maintain the 350 ish. That's where the problem is. So he's speaking to Milan, he's speaking to everybody. But he said he's not going to Saudi. So we see how that goes. Yeah. I think that's all. That's all I have for transfers.
All right. Thank you, sir. I would sign Rashford, like I said. What is surprising to me is everything I said about Amorim and Bruno Fernandes should apply to Amorim and Rashford, but it's not. So something is broken between the two. It's disappointing.
Yeah.
This man is only 27. As far as we know, he's not injured.
Mm.
Is fit. So I think the rest comes down to willingness, tactical awareness, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What coach in world football can get get across to him and make him a
Yeah.
better player? I don't know. I thought it would be Amorim. I really did. But
Yeah.
anyway, Good
I
luck
also
to him.
think he doesn't want to go out on loan.
Ah,
I think he wants a permanent. I think United also want a permanent transfer.
I see.
It
I
might
see.
it might want to do the Osimhen route. If I
So
think a loan
Turkey.
might be no,
Hmm.
just agree on a 6 month short term loan,
Okay.
right? With an obligation to buy or with an option to buy, but it will have
Oh,
to be a loan. I don't think any club will have the financial resources, or those that have the financial resources. I don't think Rashford will be interested in going to those kind of
yeah,
places.
like
So
Saudi.
it might have to settle for a loan. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yinka,
Yes, sir.
we've come to the end of our episodes. Take us out.
No, so before we go out, I'm not doing donkey of the week today. Um, it's a good weekend largely. But are you following the NFL playoffs?
I am. The Eagles are
Okay,
playing as we speak.
Eagles are
I
playing
am
as we
following.
speak.
What did you want to
Um,
highlight?
no. So there's this Josh Allen,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson quarterback discussion, MVP
Hmm.
discussion.
Shouldn't be.
Um,
It should be Allen. It shouldn't be a discussion. It should be Allen.
so you think it should be Allen?
It's his
Eh,
time. It's his time. Like that. There's not that. Lamar is not so much better than this dude that this dude should never win an MVP. It's just give it to the man and let's just move on. Like yeah, that's how I see it. And Lamar has had a fantastic second half of the season. He wasn't great the first half of the season. And Josh Allen has no weapons. Josh Allen is a one man band who plays in snow in Buffalo. They don't have a dome. All right. They don't really have weapons. Their defense is okay, but it's not great. I don't think it should be close. And to be fair, Lamar won last year when he probably had his worst statistical year in any of the seasons he was considered for MVP. So I think it's time for Josh Allen, in my opinion.
So I totally agree with you. But if it's given to Lamar, I'm not gonna be mad. But I also think it should be Josh
Yeah,
Allen. I'm
it
not
should be Allen.
because so this is the thing. Statistically, Lamar is
Yeah,
having the best QB season, maybe not in history, but based on his own standards, he's playing better statistically this year than he has ever played. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's
but
what people
yeah,
are saying. That if he played worse last year, you gave him the MVP. This year he's playing way better, and you're not gonna give him the MVP. There's
it
like a
happened. It
mismatch.
happened with Nikola Jokic, right? They gave him the MVP when he may or may not have deserved it. It came back the next year. He was better. They gave it to someone else. Sometimes it
Exactly.
happens.
Exactly.
Sometimes it happens. Last
But
year it was all because of the
unfortunately,
record.
you
Yeah,
know what will happen? Whoever wins
I know
next week,
exactly what will happen.
whoever wins next
Yeah,
week is gonna win the MVP.
yeah. But I saw the Steelers at the Ravens yesterday. So one again, context. Yinka, it is unseasonably cold in my area right now. So
Wow.
so this place, so when I lived there 02 to 05 for law school. We used to get
Mm,
snow all the time, right?
mm,
Thanks to climate change, we don't get snow anymore. So I moved
mm,
back here 6 years ago. We don't get
mm,
snow anymore. We went a 2 year period from 22 to 24.
mm-hmm.
It was 1 day short of 2 years, right? Where we didn't get an accumulation at any one time of more than 1 inch,
Whoa.
right? For a whole 2 years. So we got 4 to 8 inches on Sunday, Monday, and the snow is still on the ground. And it's so cold. It's really, 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 really cold. It's like -3, -4 Celsius in this
Mm,
area, which
mm.
for Canada, it's like another Tuesday.
That's summer.
For us, it's really cold. Exactly. And Baltimore is 40, 45 minutes from me. So they were playing that game last night in Baltimore, and Baltimore doesn't
Mm,
have a dome. It was
mm,
extremely cold.
mm.
And Baltimore was playing loose, like there was no care in the world, and they smashed the Steelers. I mean,
They smashed the
the
Steelers.
two the 14 point whatever, that came later.
Yeah,
That
they
game
came
was
later.
over at 21 nil. It
Yeah.
was over. So when I see that, I'm like, I may be a little worried for Buffalo.
Nah. I think
I
it's
may
gonna
be a
be.
little worried for them.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a decent game, right?
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. So you see, yesterday, this is what happened. Steelers were expecting that the Ravens would throw the ball a lot, and Ravens are like, okay, we're going to surprise you. Is that how you want to play us? Everybody is going to be a carry. Is it a carry for
Yeah.
Lamar or is it a carry for
Lamar
Derrick Henry
or Harry, yeah.
or Henry? Yeah, and they just couldn't keep up with them, right? The Buffalo defense is not as good. It's Henry is going to give them some trouble. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the game is in Buffalo, isn't it? Yes, it is. It is in
No.
Buffalo. It is
Oh,
in
wait,
Buffalo.
no. Really?
Yeah,
Did they
it
have
is
the
in Buffalo.
Oh,
It's not in
did they have
Baltimore.
the better record? Did they have the better record?
They did,
Oh
they
no, I didn't
did.
know that.
They
Oh
were the
wow. Yeah,
second.
so that's that
They were second. Ravens were
that's that
third.
first half. That's that first half of the season thing I talked about. The Ravens were not good in the first half of the season. That's coming back to
So
bite them now.
so the
Okay.
Baltimore is going to
To
Buffalo.
Buffalo?
Now,
Okay.
here's the thing. It's almost the same thing. The weather is horrible too. There is
It's
no dome
terrible.
also in
No, there's no
in Buffalo.
yeah. Ooh, I
So
didn't know that.
I
Okay,
can
I changed my
it's
mind. The Bills should be the favorites in
I,
that scenario.
I think the Bills should win. If the Bills
Yeah,
win, Josh Allen is MVP. Although it's postseason,
it's a
but this thing
it's a
affects the
regular.
psyche.
I know,
It
but
affects the psyche of the players.
they've already voted. The voting has
Ah,
already been done.
oh, are you
They just
serious?
haven't.
It's been
Yeah, they
already.
just haven't announced it. They just haven't announced it. Yeah. So
Oh,
they vote before the end of the season. So all the votes are already
oh,
in.
my bad. My
It's
bad.
the same thing with the NBA. So all the votes will be in before the last week of the season.
My
In
bad.
my mind, they should wait till the end of the season and then give a limited window to vote, but they don't do that.
No. It's
They don't
better
do
they do
that.
it this way because what happens in the postseason might affect voting. My
I
skilled
no, but
voters
I'm saying they should do it at the end and give a limited window before the postseason
exactly
starts.
before the
But
postseason
they don't
starts.
do
Yeah,
that. They don't do that. They give people way too much time. They give them weeks, I think, to turn in their ballot.
I
You
see.
know,
I
yeah.
see.
So, but
Anyway,
I think Allen should be the MVP, but we'll see. But
I
now
think
that
Allen
I
should be.
know that this game is in Buffalo, Lamar on the road doesn't have a great postseason record,
But
to be
Lamar on the
honest.
road never had Derrick Henry.
That's also true. That's
Uh, uh,
I
uh,
never
uh,
had Henry and Flowers together.
Flowers is
The
injured, by the way.
combination. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh
Flowers
wow,
is
I
injured.
didn't
He
know
didn't
that.
play yesterday,
Oh, I don't think I noticed that it wasn't playing.
and he might not be fit to play next weekend. Next
Wow. And
weekend,
I thought Likely was really good yesterday. It wasn't like
likely very
featured,
good.
but it was really good.
Likely and
Okay.
Andrews, very good, very good. Anyway,
Yeah.
that little discussion replaced my donkey of the week. I just thought we should keep
Okay,
that in
that's
there.
good. That was worth it.
That-
Okay, no problem. Go for it.
So, guys, once again, thank you very much for the support. Slight uptick in our numbers again. We appreciate that. But like Oliver Twist, as I always say, we want more. So please tell your friends about us. Like, subscribe, engage, send us questions, things you want us to talk about, and we will do that. This is our 46th episode, Aki. Yeah? 46, right? I think it's
Yes, it
46.
is.
46.
It is
Yeah.
46.
So we're getting close to the 50. On the 50th episode, we'll talk about our giveaway, our plan, and what we intend to do, right? Akin still doesn't know about this, and he's going to pay
Nobody
for it.
tells me anything.
And he's going to pay for it. But it's just a way to say thank you to our listeners and probably get more people on board. So Akin, this was fun. Thank you very much. And to
Yeah.
our listeners, thank you. We'll talk to you all next week.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week, and goodbye.